Hey MVPs, RicoKnows here. You guys know the deal. I'm doing 2024 futures bets for next season. I'm starting them now. Every couple of days, I'm doing a win total of one of the Power 4 teams. Today, we're still in the ACC. Today, we're looking at North Carolina. If you go check the sports book, I'm using FanDuel. They have win totals over and unders, and they have North Carolina at 7.5 wins. This means, do you think they're going to win 7.5 wins in the regular season? This does not include the bowl game. This does not include the conference championship. Are they winning 7.5? So, first thing we're going to do, go back and look at 2023. They won 8.5 games. They lost their bowl game. This means they won 8 games. I shouldn't say 8.5. 8-5. They won 8 games in the regular season. This is because they started 6-0, and then they hit conference play and started losing games. Now, the only team they beat that impressed me out of the whole season was when they won this game in double overtime over Duke. I was really impressed with this. The rest of it, I just kind of expected it to happen. When it happened, I want to say the people will say Miami was supposed to win this game. I don't believe it. The rest of it, pretty much picked the games right. This first game of the season, though, shocked me completely. I had South Carolina winning this game. I did not believe North Carolina was going to be any good last year. My assessment on North Carolina last year was they lost their offense coordinator. They lost Dre Bly as their defensive backs coach. They lost their entire secondary, and I felt like losing Josh Downs was very problematic. Having to learn a new offensive scheme in Drake May's final year was not going to be successful. And when I made my assessment, a lot of people started attacking me when they were 6-0. Rico, all summer long, you told us they were going to be terrible. They're 6-0. And I just kept sitting there going, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand how they're 6-0. I know they're terrible. And when you go back and look, they beat a very bad Minnesota team, a very bad Pitt team, an even worse Syracuse team. Like, it turns out they were a fraud. It turns out they couldn't beat Virginia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, NC State, and even West Virginia, right? Like, they couldn't get it done when it mattered. They weren't any good. They got a miracle win over Duke. So, for me, I think I was right. But winning 8 games doesn't look like a huge fall off. It was a drop off. I think in 2022, they were probably the second or third best team in the ACC, if I remember correctly. I think they played Oregon in the bowl game. So that being said, I'm here to tell you that when you lose Drake May, you don't get better. I understand that. When you lose Drake May, you don't get better. When you lose Devontae Walker, you don't get better. Granted, Tez Walker didn't play most of the season last year. NCAA ruled him ineligible for a large portion of the beginning of the season. And even when he came back, he did not impact your win-loss total by any means. Great NFL prospect. Shout out to Kent State. But I know you don't get better. But I believe North Carolina is going to be better next year. Better than 7.5. Let me just say that right now. I have them on the over here. I'm going to show you guys the chart. Over, and I have it 3 units, and I have it as a lock. I think they're definitely winning over 7. I think they're at least winning 8 games. We'll talk about it. First and foremost, when you go over their schedule, they're playing Minnesota again on the road at Minnesota in August. It's not a big deal. Minnesota, not better than North Carolina in a lot of ways. Position groups, they don't measure up. Coaching staffs, they don't measure up. I really like North Carolina in this game. North Carolina is going to beat Charlotte. They're going to beat NC Central. You have James Madison losing their head coach, and now they got a good coach in Chaney coming in, or what's his name? Did I say Chaney? What's his name? The guy from Holy Cross. I know his name. I'm drawing a blank. Chesney. So Chesney coming in, but I still think North Carolina starts the season 4-0. Duke losing Mike Elko as a head coach, losing Riley Leonard. Like, I just don't see this. So North Carolina is going to open the season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in a row is how I think North Carolina is going to open the season. 6 wins in a row. And then they're going to run into Georgia Tech. I don't see them winning that game. I believe they can beat, on the road, I believe they can beat Virginia. That's 7 wins. Not beating Florida State, 8 wins. They're going to beat Duke. And I got them at 9 wins beating Boston College. Not beating NC State. 9 wins. I could be wrong on 2 of these. If you feel really strongly about some other teams. But I just don't see why they're at 7.5. I think it's a mistake by Vegas. I don't think Vegas has assessed these teams properly. I don't see where they think they're losing. If you have them losing Florida State, you have them losing NC State, have them losing Georgia Tech, where else do you have them losing on this schedule? It's a very easy schedule for North Carolina. I think they win 9 games in the regular season. We don't even care if I'm right in that. They're definitely going to win 8. I just don't see it, man. I don't see how they get under 8. So, like I said, they're going to start 6-0, and it's a 7.5 over at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All they need is 2 more wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need 2 more wins. You still got Wake Forest on the schedule. You still got Virginia. I mean, these are, unless you expect North Carolina to be the worst team in the ACC, and I don't. So let's talk about it. North Carolina. Sorry, I got a message here on this other screen. North Carolina has Drake May. Okay, cool. Connor Harrell's actually a decent quarterback, freshman quarterback. He played in the bowl game. I thought he played well. He looked good. He's a tall kid, 6'5", whatever. But I'm going to tell you that Connor Harrell is not their starting quarterback, right? They brought in Max Johnson. This is Brad Johnson's son. Brad Johnson, former NFL winning quarterback. Max Johnson started at LSU as a freshman. He was a state championship quarterback at Oconee County here in Georgia. So I think a 3A school at the time. He and his brother were really good, Jack Johnson. And Jake Johnson. Whoa, what's wrong with me today? Nonetheless, you look at Max, and he went to A&M, and he couldn't win the starting job, or at least couldn't keep it. Yeah, man, you're going up against some really good quarterbacks that I believe in. They're starting at Georgia Tech now. Connor Wegman can actually play. There's some really good quarterbacks. Haynes King is not a joke. Haynes King won the Texas A&M job back-to-back years. A&M had the quarterback position open, and they said, we're having tryouts, and Haynes King beat everybody out. Now, he didn't keep the job. He ended up losing it, ended up not playing well. And then the next season, they opened it up again, and he beat everybody out again. Haynes King is good. And he actually played really well at Georgia Tech last year. Go check the stats. Go check the film. Go do what you got to do. So if you haven't watched the Georgia Tech video, go watch it. But for me, when I look at a guy like Max Johnson not starting over Haynes King, I don't think that's terrible at all. I think Max Johnson's a good quarterback. He's decent. Now, he's transferring in to probably be the starter, and rightfully so. But it's not going to be on him to win games. They got a running back down here, a sophomore running back they discovered, Omarion Hampton. If you don't remember, this is a young man that showed up with a 200-yard game and just never stopped carrying the rock. You got one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL draft on your team, and we don't need to rely on this guy anymore. We can just hand the rock off to this guy and just dominate. Omarion Hampton, over 250 carries, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. What? Did you know that Drake May led North Carolina in rushing the year before? Yeah, Phil, whatever his name is, the guy who just left to Wisconsin. I can't remember names today. Just right now. I'm talking to you guys, and I'm just going, boom. I apologize all day long. But their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, just left and went. But back in 2022, in a Phil Longo offense, he was rushing for the team's leading rusher. It's bananas. British Brooks, he's done. I think it was his senior year this year. He's been at school forever. I swear he's been there since 2017. And then Connor Harrell's the backup quarterback. He's still here. Some guys hit the portal. Some guys don't matter. It's fine. But you see all these receivers? Outside of Devontae Walker, everybody's coming back. Everybody's coming back. And Nate McCullum's great. Paysor is good. Like, I really like the receiving core. Talent-wise, a really good receiving core. So, and then you bring in Jake Johnson, Max Johnson's brother. He's a stud tight end at A&M. I like their offense. I think they're going to score points. The question is what their defense is going to play like. So you got Cedric Gray. He just hit the portal. I mean the NFL draft. So he's in the draft. That's your team's leading tackler, 5-sack guy. That's fine. It sucks, but Power Nichols is still there. Power Echols is still on the team. This is the team's second leading tackler, over 100 tackles. Power Echols on the team. Artavius Lane, a transfer from Georgia State. He's a good guy. He's a good player. Shout out to Dwyer High School in Florida. Artavius Lane can play football. Go turn on the tape. A couple other guys I like, Marcus Allen. I love the name. No, but I watched Marcus Allen play in high school. I think he played at Walton here in Georgia. Really like Marcus Allen. And then there's Elijah Huzzy. What are we doing? Elijah Huzzy, a high school quarterback, turned defensive back, goes to, where'd he go? East Tennessee State University, ETSU, plays, fucking all-world, FCS, All-American. So then he gets to this level, and you guys see it. He got injured, didn't even play the whole year. 3 interceptions, and his punt return skills are amazing. Amari Gainer's here. But like when you look at this team, go turn on the tape, they got talent everywhere. I don't understand why Vegas thinks this is going to be one of the worst teams in the ACC. It doesn't make sense to me at all, and especially given their schedule. Like, their schedule's sweet, bro. I like what they're going to do. I feel like they're going to score points, and they got enough playmakers to get it done. I want to stop here and show you guys the depth chart real quick. Oh, we'll go to transfer portal. I'm sorry. So in the transfer portal, who's leaving the team? DJ Jones. Shout out to these websites. These websites are dumb. DJ Jones is not a running back. DJ Jones is a tweener. Number one, he's a tweener. We don't know what position he plays, but he plays defensive back. He just moved to corner last year. He's actually, if you go look at those stats, you won't see any DJ Jones running. He's not a running back. He's a defensive back. And this is both websites, 24/7 Sports and On3. Don't even know what position the kid plays. So that's just embarrassing. Leaving lineman, going back to Georgia, or going to Georgia Southern. Diego Pounds is a starter. Losing him is tough. Going to Ole Miss. George Petway, when I turn on the video, and he's a former 4-star kid, he's leaving to JMU. George Petway, I promise you, they're going to try to give him starter reps at JMU, and he's not even going to start at JMU. When I watch his huddle film, I do not see a running back. He does not look like a natural runner to me. And I know Suffolk, Virginia, he's so great. He was the player this year. Don't care. I turn on the tape. I do not see a natural runner, and they got some real runners. Ayo Day, he just transferred in. That dude's amazing, bro. He's a 1,000-yard rusher out of North Texas, averages 7 yards a carry. That's a real player. Elijah Green, congratulations, you're going to Indiana. I don't think Elijah Green is in the 2 deep at Indiana. He is coming out of Blessed Trinity High School here in Georgia. Great school. A lot of great players came out of there. Shout out to Justice Haynes and a couple other dudes before they transferred to Buford. But Blessed Trinity's been putting out ACC running backs for about a decade now. And shout out to Elijah Green, but he's not playing at Indiana. Indiana has 5 other running backs better than him. Sebastian Cheeks going to Wisconsin, going to add to the depth in their linebacker core. It's not a big loss. It's a young loss, though. It's a young kid and a good loss. Andre Green, another young loss. Fine. It's on you, bro. Going to Cal, Ryan Coe, go do your thing. Nobody else really moves the meter for me when I turn on the tape and watch them. I don't get excited about a lot of these players, especially these guys down here. Excuse me. This kid's 6'7", by the way. Jefferson Bowes, the quarterback. But transfers coming in. It's not a lot. It's just a handful of kids. And when I look at it, I'm going to tell you that Darwin Barlow, this transfer makes 0 sense to me. This is a running back leaving USC. Before he was at USC, he was at TCU. This is a Texas kid, can't play in the Power 5, and he keeps transferring to only Power 5 schools or Power 4 schools. Should not be at Power 4 schools. He just shouldn't. And he's never seen the field, doesn't become a contributor. This kid should be at North Texas. He should be at UTSA, Texas State, UIW, some small school in Texas. Definitely should not be at North Carolina. He's going to be the 3rd string running back, maybe 2nd string. Howard Sampson coming over. They're adding depth in the interior offensive line. Congratulations. He looks like a baby in the picture, bro. Looks like a baby, but you needed help there. Jakeem Harris, safety, leaving North Carolina State, going to North Carolina, another tweener. First off, I don't think he's 5'11". When I watch the tape, he looks smaller. I think he's 5'10", 5'9". Maybe, this is his dating profile and he lied about his height. But Jakeem Harris is not very impactful, and I think they have really good players in the secondary. I think they have really good players, period. He just doesn't come across that way. He used to be a receiver. He just moved over. Jake Johnson, stud and a half. I love everything about him on tape. Austin Blake's, don't know much about him. I'm going to have to go back and watch some tape and find him. This is one transfer I don't know much about, period. Max Johnson, like I said, I think he's the starting quarterback, and anytime you find your starting quarterback in the transfer portal, that is a win. That is a much more impactful transfer than most teams. So like I told you, all the receivers are returning. The one guy out of this receiver group that I'm most impressed with is Nate McCullum, and he's down here in the 2nd row. That's really weird. They say he's not starting. I think he's a stud. This is a transfer from Georgia Tech. A really good slot receiver. So I really like what he's doing. They have both transfers in the starting lineup. Right, so Blakesley's coming as a starting center from Georgia, and then Sampson coming over from North Texas. Congratulations. Max Johnson, they have him starting. These are all the transfers, by the way. And you see Willie Lampkin here, this right guard? Willie Lampkin is so good. This is a Coastal Carolina transfer, if I remember correctly. Coastal Carolina? Rhode Island. Where's he from? Rhode Island? Coastal Carolina. I was right. He's so good that last year when he transferred, I was impressed. I had to go turn on the tape. I could have sworn he was the starting center for Grayson McCall. So I think he was the starting center for Grayson McCall, and he came over and they moved him to right guard. He's a good player, though. Okay, that's a good player. Let's see here. Defensively, like I told you, they have certain playmakers and studs in certain positions that'll just leave you looking like, man, these guys can play football. I really like the way they play. It's a 3-3-5 defense, and I think they have playmakers everywhere. Elijah Huzzy's an NFL football player. So Elijah Huzzy's an NFL guy. I think Artavius Lane's too small to be an NFL guy, but he's a hell of a college football player for sure. They got studs up front. Travis Shaw's a criminal, so let's not give him too much shine. But the rest of these guys I'm cool with. Good team. So I don't know what we think we're doing as far as wins go. I don't know why Vegas keeps saying they're not going to win more than 7.5. That's good for us. So show you the chart once again. Remember, when I show you this chart, it's about different color schemes here. Greens mean lock. Go put some money on it. Right? Greens mean a lock. Go watch the video. It's under the futures playlist. And then black is a lean. It's a coin flip. Figure it out. And then purple's a value bet. Purple, we're taking a shot at it. We're trying to hit it. And you got to believe in it. If you see a red, that means I made a video and I told you to do the other. So for this red in particular, I said under. And then after the video, things have changed. My assessment has changed. Maybe some of their opponents' rosters have changed. It could be transfer portal impacted, coaching staff impacted. A couple of different things can happen, and now I think in the over in that regard. So I kind of do casually change my assessment. Doing every single team. If you didn't see, there's another video over here. I believe in this one. It's a 2-unit lean. Nonetheless, hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Hope you learned something about North Carolina. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Be safe, y'all.